Hey guys, first regardsman here, and I'll be talking about weekly hard stratagem number 28, the best builds and team comps to complete this for patch 12.1 of Space Marine 2. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, this week is a little bit diabolical, and random lobbies are gonna have a very hard time with this one, because we have the battlefield conditions on Ballistic Engine, Unshaken, you do not lose 12 heavy hits and cannot be knocked back, twice the foe, there are twice as many Terminus level enemies, Supremacy of the Strong, Terminus level enemies are stronger and close in, range damage is greatly reduced but melee damage is increased. So I will be real, random lobbies are going to get shit on by this modifier. This is a very hard weekly for most players. Having double Terminus spawns actually means you will get 2 Terminus spawns simultaneously. It doesn't mean you'll find like 4 throughout the mission. I mean, technically you will, but you'll find like 2 at a time, which is pretty damn brutal. And that means you can find double Neurothropes, a Neurothrope or Carnifex, or double Carnifex. Now, double Neurothrope is diabolical with close in, and there are some ways to make this a bit easier, but if you are not coordinated, if you are not like really knowledgeable on the boss spawns, and just like the boss mechanics in the game, you're probably going to have a very hard time with this one, and this is probably one of the hardest weeklies we've ever had, and I'm not even sure if the player base is entirely ready for this one, but we'll see. Maybe people have like an easier time with it overall. Now, the biggest thing I want to make mention of here with the battlefield conditions is that the close-in modifier is not kidding when it says range damage is greatly reduced. If there is one thing to take away from this entire guide, it is do not load into this mission with a range build setup on like a heavy class and expect to dominate, because you will just die. Just keep in mind, your ranged weapons are significantly nerfed in this one, and melee damage is greatly increased. And now we're going to go in some actual builds here for this, and what I think is the best team comp. I just want to make mention of that because a lot of players might just think like, oh, it's only like a little bit reduced, I'll be fine, but no. Now, for the build portion of this, the best team comp for this hard weekly is Tactical, Assault, and Bulwark. Now, Tactical is already very strong as a support with just the Auspex scan and things like the Power Gladius and Secure Stockpile team perk, but on top of this, the close-in modifier does not affect your Pyroblaster's burn damage. It will affect like the direct damage of your Pyroblaster's shot, but as far as like the burning effect goes for the damage over time, this weapon is completely unaffected by that greatly reduced range damage, which makes it like the de facto best pick. It already kind of is anyways, because the Pyroblaster is like the best gun in the game at the Space Marine 2 patch 12, and like really since patch 10 regardless. And for the perk tree on this, we do build up Improved Fast Venting first, into the perk Eternal Flame, into the perk Potent Flame, going all the way down here, things like Flame of Ascension, and then you can take the perk down here, Flame of Purification. Burning enemies take 20% more melee damage. Now, we already have a team-wide melee damage buff from the close-in modifier, but this will actually affect your teammates' damage, not just yours. So, like, you're a huge buffer here, though alternatively, you could pick up the perk up here, Pure Flame, for even more burning damage, because your direct damage doesn't matter anyways. So if you want to do that, you could. I just value this one a little bit more for my team. And now, for the secondary option that I would use on like pretty much every class here, that would be the Heroic Heavy Bolt Pistol, mainly because of the heroic perk effect here, no help is coming. Shooting enemy with the Elite Scream status stops from calling for reinforcements, and headshots kill in one shot. Now, the close-in modifier makes your secondary damage so abysmal that being able to one-shot guys in the head that are reinforcement calling is like probably the best use case scenario of any secondary weapon for this weekly anyways, so I would definitely take this one and build it like this, like maybe even like able damage, but to be honest, the perks don't matter too much. All you really want is this effect. Now, for the melee weapon on the Tactical here, I would take the Power Gladius, mainly because of the heroic perk effect here, Agile Strike, that can give you upwards of like 300% plus damage on a single melee attack, and this on top of the close-in modifier and a precise calibration, Concentrated Fire Auspex will one-shot or damn near one-shot like any boss in this modifier here, which is really strong for you because bosses are by far the hardest part of this weekly. Now, regardless of whether or not you're taking the Power Gladius for bonus boss damage, I would still build for Precise Calibration and Concentrated Fire, because this will give you a 195% bonus damage to your Auspex and have your Auspex last 60% longer, and being able to Auspex a boss for your entire team is going to make this weekly way easier for everybody. And Secure Stockpile is an obvious pick here as well, because 60-second Melta Bombs, these will solve like the bonus Extremis spawns and stuff like that, so really good all around for your team. And for the core perk tree, the only really important perk here in my opinion is Emperor's Vengeance, because you do need to solve the ammo economy, but perks like Relentless Pursuit, versatility, even height and vigor here don't really matter on this modifier because you already have the unshaken modifier, which gives you no knockback in base. So like this one's a little bit redundant, and the first column here is like all range damage that does like basically nothing for you. But as far as the prestige perks go, I would just take skill supplier and like resilience, fortitude, and spare power. These like the overall best for like most builds on the tactical anyways. And acuity doesn't really do anything for you, even though the Pyroblaster does trigger this, but doesn't really do anything for like your burn, so not too useful anyways. Now, for the other classes, number 1, Assault. The Balanced Power Fist has a ridiculous amount of damage this patch. All balanced weapons in patch 12 got like a 15% base damage buff. They now hit harder in base than the block version does. And on top of that, the close-in modifier will allow you to one-shot any Majoras with Thrust Jab and Overcharge on this build, which is really damn powerful. Like, you do put out a ludicrous amount of damage with the Balanced Power Fist these days, and on the close-in modifier for this weekly, even bosses will get their HP like chunked kind of, which is pretty crazy because bosses have like 6,000 HP in this modifier. So for the perk setup here, I would take Overcharge for 25% more damage to your charged melee attacks. The Power Fist really benefits from this because the Power Fist can one-shot Majoras off of that perk. It can also do significant damage to Extremis, and it can do significant damage to even a Neurothrope because the Power Fist functions more like a ranged weapon than a melee weapon because of the perk down here, Height of Battle, that says power wave forward distance increases from 4 to 8 meters. This is actually a 10 to 20 meter increase, which means that you can pretty much just punch a Zoanthrope out of the sky, punch a Neurothrope out of the sky. The actual like wave hitbox is enormous on this thing, so really good for this modifier. And up here, Following Blow, combo, Majora Slayer, even Cannon Punch, or if you want to take things like Strength of Will, these are all good options. I would set it up this way no matter what, and make sure you pick up things like Heavy Preparation, because Heavy attack preparation time being reduced by 30%. This is by far the most important perk in this whole tree right now because heavy attacks are like all you want on this thing. Now, for the secondary, just like the tactical, I would take the Heroic Heavy Bolt Pistol for the same reasons. And as far as the rest of the perk tree is concerned, definitely make sure to pick up Furious Strikes, Wings of Flame, and Commitment. This is currently the best build on Assault overall, mainly because Commitment and Furious Strikes just give you free jump packs, and Wings of Flame can trivialize Carnifex fights all on its own, so really good for this weekly. And Furious Strike says hitting an enemy with an attack after a jump pack dash restores jump pack's ability charged by 1. The cooldown is 10 seconds. So if you combine that with the Commitment perk down here, that gives you a free jump pack dash every single time you get a perfect dodge off of one. You can get a free jump pack dash, punch them in the face of the dash attack, get another jump pack, and now you're up a jump pack. So a really good synergy there. And Wings of Flame gives you a damage effect along your perfect dodge window on a jump pack dash, and also gives you a wider iframe to actually trigger that perfect dodge in the first place. So a really good synergy there, and this will deal so much free damage to bosses in this game that you definitely want to pick this up for this modifier. Now, for the prestige perks, I would just take Duelist or Unyielding Oath first. This one I think is a bit better for this modifier, mainly because having invulnerability during ground pound means you have an easier time getting in on like Neurothrope waves, and a double Neurothrope wave is like the most important thing to stop in this whole weekly here, because that will like nuke your whole team if you're not careful, so getting into that faster is very useful. Now the next perk here will be Fortitude, health increases by 15%. You can pick up like Scramble Targeting if you want, because Practice Aim doesn't really do anything for you in this modifier. And the final one I would pick up no matter what is of course Hammer of Wrath. After using your jump pack, you take 30% less range damage, don't lose control of heavy hits, and cannot be knocked back for 15 seconds, because this one is just a free range damage reduction, and the no knockback effect doesn't really matter too much, but having a 30% range damage reduction here is very valuable for you. And that's pretty much all there is for the Assault build. I really would go for full melee damage, unlike Knowledge of the Enemy, Strategic Strikes. You could pick up Perseverance if you want for a 25% health damage reduction while charging your attacks. This can help you out a bit, but I would definitely make sure to pick up either this or Defense Mechanism, because having some kind of like HP healing during these ridiculous boss fights, or I should say some kind of survivability perk, will help you out tremendously, and this one is still one of the best for like any build that's not using armor reinforcement in my opinion. That's pretty much all there is for the Assault here. Now for the Bulwark, just like the Assault, I would take the Heroic Heavy Bolt Pistol and the Balanced Power Fist, because the Balanced Power Fist just hits so damn hard in this modifier, and I really do think the Balanced Power Fist is kind of insane with its like 7+ speed, being potential of 12 plus and the base damage being higher than the block version, because this pretty much means that you can just put out ludicrous damage with like no prerequisite. And on top of that, the Adrenaline Surge stagger effect does not affect either the Carnifex or the Neurothrope. They don't have any stagger animations, so balance I think is just the way to go for this one, and I would build it the same way as the Assault class. Now for the perk tree, you can either build Conviction or Intimidating Aura first. These are both top tier perks in the game. Conviction gives you a 25% health damage reduction for 10 seconds on armor break, which will make you significantly tankier. And Intimidating Aura is also just a ton of free damage. But really, on this hard weekly, if you want to be as safe as possible, you can definitely afford to go full tank on this build. The Balanced Power Fist is doing so much damage with the Close-in modifier anyways, you really don't need Intimidating Aura that much if you don't want it. And Conviction on top of Steel Within will give you a 55% conditional health damage reduction on top of a base HP increase of 30% as your starting perk, and that will make you ridiculously tanky in this game and really make it easy for your entire team to live. So if you want to build it this way, you definitely could, or you could just take Conviction and take Armor Reinforcement, which will function very similarly. Now, another option here is Scramble Targeting for a 25% range damage reduction here, and the perk Focus Restoration. Every 30 seconds, all team members automatically restore 1 armor segment. Getting 1 armor segment back against Carnifexes is super useful because a Carnifex is mostly a melee enemy outside of like their ranged volley attack, and any amount of armor remaining in Space Marine 2 will reduce all incoming melee damage to 0 even from bosses, so a really good synergy here, and also really good to keep your Tactical alive because Tactical is quite squishy. Now, for the perk tree here on the gear side, Purity of Purpose is still free damage over time on your banner. Invigorating Icon is just free HP for your entire team. Merciless Resolve will give you no knockback, but I will say if you want to take like Inspiration for even more damage on your Power Fist, or things up here like Rejuvenating Effect to up your teammates, you can definitely do that because we do have the Unshaken modifier here, which gives us no knockback in base for this operation. So you don't really need this perk that much. But if you want to take it for like a little bit of bonus damage, you definitely could. Next perk here is Defensive Mastery. A perfect time parry or block instantly incapacitates a majority of level enemy. Cooldown is 90 seconds. Being able to one-shot an Extremis in a boss fight will definitely save your life when there are double bosses, because having a Ravener on your ass with this can be a really big pain. So being able to one-shot them, really useful for you, or even like a Sword Warrior. So I would definitely pick this up because the other options like Armor Advance are completely worthless on the strat because of Unshaken, and Emergency Countermeasures is okay. If you really want to take this, you could, I guess. Now, for the Prestige perk tree, I would just take Resilience for more HP from stims, Overcharge for more charge attack damage because you do have a Balanced Power Fist, just like the Assault class on their Overcharge perk, and I would take Masterful Defense and Standard Bearer, which is ability charge for by 1% for every blocked range attack, and Invulnerability for 2 seconds on Banner, which can help you set up some charge attacks on like a Banner plan and Carnifex phase. You know, that is really all up to you. You can even take Auxiliary Reload, but I do think that like these 4 are the best for this modifier. And that's pretty much all there is for the team comp, guys. I do think you should just take like Bulwark, Assault, and Tac. These guys just work the best on like the hardest content anyways in this game because they just have such an amazing synergy, like Auspex, melee damage, ground pounds, and all of that. And Bulwark is definitely a good anchor for your whole team. And Tactical is a super high capacity, ammo capacity enabler for damage for your entire team as well. Now, final thoughts on this would be, if you are dying over and over, don't feel bad, guys. This is a hard one, okay? Let's just be very clear. This one will be very hard for most players. It's probably one of the hardest weeklies we have ever had. Twice the Foe and Supremacy of the Strong is a brutal modifier, and if you're playing with randoms, you're probably going to die a lot. Like, let's just be real. You will probably die a lot, and that is okay. You have an entire week to complete this, and hopefully this build guide helped you. And if you like content like this, subscribe for more. And as always, thank you for watching. Take it easy. Good luck on your stratagem. Bye.